Do you want to stay up to date with the messiest drama on the internet? Or what about those crazy viral challenges? Then be sure to tune in to TMZ Verified, the podcast. I'm Wild.
I'm Steph.
And each week we're either breaking down the spicy viral stories or we're hanging out with the most popular influencers around. Tana Mojo is in the building.
I don't even know if they're hating. They're probably just telling the truth, but we love the haters too.
Sophia Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, but let's be real with each other, you know?
Bryce Hall is here, y'all. Make some noise, people.
I'm single, by the way.
Right.
So if you like viral drama, influencer culture, and just overall hot messiness, check out new episodes of TMZ Verified every Thursday right here on Spotify.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
On today's show, man is immediately decapitated after killing a woman on a bike. Welcome to the Age of Jeremy. I'm your host, Jeremy Quintanilla. I'm the CFO and co-founder of 3T Warrior Academy. I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Age of Radio. Check out our 3T Warrior Academy YouTube channel and check out Age of Radio at ageofradio.com. This is your first time tuning in to Age of Jeremy. This is a show about my life as an entrepreneur and creator and all the ups and downs and people I meet along the way. Make sure to follow me on all the socials at Age of Jeremy, except Twitter. It's at Age of Jeremy Q. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at, you guessed it, Age of Jeremy. This episode of Age of Jeremy is brought to you by Signature Home Styles. Looking to upgrade your home or office? Tired of being second when it comes to taste and style? Look no further than Signature Home Styles at www.signaturehomestyles.biz/Age of Radio. Signature Home Styles is America's online destination for home goods and decor, transforming millions of homes in the U.S. for over 50 years. Candles, coffee, florals, lighting, wall decor, and more. Signature Home Styles has thousands of unique products not found anywhere else. Don't forget to check out their famous Sparkle Glass. Sparkle Glass is an eye-catching LED glass cylinder only available at Signature Home Styles. Sparkle Glass can be purchased with seasonal or custom inserts, bringing astonishing brilliance to all rooms for any occasion. Don't settle for second place home decor. Get the best at Signature Home Styles. Make sure to visit our Age of Radio partner page at www.signaturehomestyles.biz/Age of Radio. That is www.signaturehomestyles.biz/Age of Radio. And there is a link in the episode description as always. Today's show is a recording from our Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group showcase, where I interview a content creator from our Facebook group. Our Addicted to Podcasting group, or our Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group, I should say, is all about bringing content creators and audiences together to learn and share in meaningful experiences. In this showcase episode, I host Jared, one of the founders of Rum Runners Podcast Network and their podcast Rum Runners. The Rum Runners Podcast Network family is focused on cultivating a community for creators to come together and produce the best possible podcasts. It's a place for passionate individuals with shows from every genre to join a crew of people dedicated to helping them succeed and grow. They strive, and by they, I mean the Rum Runners Podcast Network. They strive to provide indie podcasters with a place to collaborate, share ideas, and promote one another. At Rum Runners Podcast Network, they're not just a crew, they are a family. And their anchor podcast is Rum Runners podcast, Runners Podcast, which stars Jared and Kyle. And the premise of the show is they read the clickbait so you don't have to. Have you ever been on Facebook and seen a story that seems too crazy to be true? Every week, Jared and Kyle jump into the weirdest and funniest news articles from all over the internet. They find out if there's actually more to the story than just the headline. They click on those links that you're too nervous to click on. They waste their time so you don't waste yours. So listen to them waste their time because it's funny, and you can find their podcast. Just type in Run Runners in your favorite podcast or podcatcher, and it should show up for you. And I'm really excited, or was really excited, to do this episode on Showcase. Run Runners was actually part of the Age of Radio network, but they branched off and created their own network, which I was so happy for, because that was the premise of the original idea behind the network portion of Age of Radio, is to give everybody a place where they could grow and learn and share. And some years we've done it poorly, some years we've done it badly, some years we've done it really good, and we're still continuing to grow. So again, if you're interested in any of that, check out ageofradio.com. But more importantly, join our community, our Addicted to Podcasting community. We have a Facebook group, and from the Facebook group, you can get into the Discord, and we'll be doing a lot of interesting things regarding our Age of Radio community here in 2023, and we will keep it growing until, I don't know, forever. Just like I plan to do this Age of Jeremy podcast until I die, I guess. I'm also going to be continuing to focus on Age of Radio until I die, I guess. But so make sure that you support us. Go to ageofradio.com. Make sure you support Run Runners by going to any podcatcher and subscribing to their Run Runners podcast and checking them out on runrunnerspodcast.com or runrunnerspodcastnetwork.com. There is a link in the episode description as always. And here's my conversation with Jared. Enjoy. So do you remember when I don't know if you vaguely remember this, and not to go off on a tangent, but I'll forget. Do you remember when you were on the Age of Radio network? Do you remember we had you guys on an app called Breaker?
Yes.
Okay. So Breaker got bought by Twitter, and they used their software to create Twitter Spaces. And that's actually what created the Twitter Spaces. And so I thought that was interesting, because I started bringing some other shows onto the network like at the beginning of the year, and I went to Breaker and I'm like, why is nothing here anymore? I'm like, I was so confused on what was happening. But anyway, so that's essentially what happened with that. So Twitter Spaces is really, really fun, and we can definitely talk about that more maybe on a one-off, and I can tell you like some of the benefits of being on Twitter Spaces. But we're doing a Twitter Spaces tomorrow at 9. I'm going to talk about some of the things that you should focus on for content creation, and how to create like a community and a tribe, because that's the main thing that we're focused on. And then real quick, I'm just going to go into the live here. The one thing I don't like about StreamYard, Jared, is that you can never see actually really what's going on from StreamYard inside of the live.
Oof.
So let's just pull this bad boy up and watch ourselves talk.
Nothing better than watching yourself talk.
Yeah, especially when it's all super slow. That's the one thing that I do hate about it, because there's always the lag, right?
Delay.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, before we get over to Run Runners and talk about all the cool stuff that Jared has going on with his amazing podcast network, I do want to let you know that we do have an amazing sponsor. It is Signature Home Styles. So I'm actually going to share my screen here so you can see what Signature Home Styles is all about. Signature Home Styles is essentially everything that you need for your home, from coffee makers to aesthetics, like stuff that's going on. You know, fall's happening right now, so who doesn't love pumpkins? I love Halloween. I love Thanksgiving, and I love Christmas. This is my favorite time of the year. And so when we decorate our house here in the Quintanilla household, we usually do it up. We put pumpkins outside. We like get the pumpkin candles and all of that amazing stuff you can get from Signature Home Styles. So we do have a special promo code that you can actually use to get some money off. And you know what? That banner keeps disappearing. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to signaturehomestyles.biz at Age of Radio, and it's going to bring you to our specific Age of Radio site. Look around. You're going to get 61% off from October 1st to October 31st. But if you use a social SOCIAL10. So it's SOCIAL10. You can get an additional $10 off when you order $50 or more. And after this video is completed, in the comments, I'll go ahead and leave some other comments to tell you how to get to the website, because it's really important that you use the signature homestyles.biz/age of radio. And then we will get compensated. I'm just being honest for you, because they're helping us out and we're, talking about it here and on the podcast network. So when you use that website, that's how it tracks the sales to us. And so remember, use SOCIAL10 as your code when you're ordering $50 or more, and you will be able to get that $10 off. All right, so now that that part's out of the way, let's do what we came here to do, and to showcase my good friend Jared from the Rum Runners Podcast Network. So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. It's actually my birthday weekend, and I rented a theater to watch Black Adam tomorrow because AMC, they went up pretty high at the beginning of the year, and now I think that AMC is not making any money, so they dropped the theater rental price down to more of my level. And so I'm like, I'm just going to rent a theater and go watch Black Adam with my wife and niece tomorrow. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so this is actually the last thing that I have going on other than the Twitter Spaces tomorrow, and then I'm just off doing nothing for Friday, most of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and then I'll go back to my main business at 3-2 Warrior Academy on Tuesday. So do you have anything exciting going on this weekend?
Work. It's work.
You do amazing stuff for work, because I just found out that your main career right now and your main trajectory is to build Rum Runners Podcast Network.
Yep. Rum Runners is my sole focus. Other than, I have my daughter. My daughter is always going to be number one priority. But right under that, it is my new baby, which is building this company. So 100% of my time when I'm not with her is focused on getting every single thing that we need to do this. And it's a lot, but honestly, I have never felt more rewarded in doing anything. Any other job that I've ever had, even if it's, one, paid me more. It's definitely paid me more.
Yeah, that's true. It's rough when you're doing it on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of red. Yeah. But so even if it paid me more, even if, I loved it and had fun, nothing has been as rewarding as building something with, I can't say my own two hands. I do have a business partner. Kyle couldn't make it, unfortunately. But, between me and my best friend, building something that has, our name attached to it, every single thing that it does and stands for is what we wanted it to be. And it's been incredible. It's been tough, but it's been incredible. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Now, how long? So let's talk about your specific shows that you are specifically on first, because you have your network and there's other shows, but then you have your main flagship show, which is essentially Rum Runners. Is that accurate?
Yep. The Rum Runners podcast is our flagship. That is the one that started this whole thing. That was when we were trying to figure out how to do something creative that wasn't going to cost us like $1 million to get up and running. Right. And we just loved kind of just, BSing back and forth and just, spending time talking. So Kyle was like, let's do a podcast. And I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. And I bought all the equipment for it. And we had no idea what we were doing at first, had absolutely no direction. And after 6 episodes, we were like, we should probably pick like something to do.
I don't know. That's one of the hardest things too, is especially if you're doing it with a friend, sometimes you can just start talking and you're like, what the hell were we even doing in that podcast? Because you're just having a great conversation. And people do like that. I mean, that's essentially the premise for Joe Rogan, I suppose.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But so what happens on the podcast now that you have a theme? Like what does the podcast look like if someone's going to listen to it?
Yeah, so basically how Rum Runners works is the Rum Runners podcast is set up as a news show, which we never thought we would end up being, but we are a comedy news show. Our tagline is, we read the clickbait so you don't have to. We don't talk about real news. We don't talk about anything. We try not to talk about anything serious. Sometimes it sneaks in. But really, we click on the clickbait headlines that pop up in your social media, like, man is immediately decapitated after killing a woman on a bike. And you're like, what was that? I need to know more.
Because it sounds funny. It's not funny, but it sounds funny. So I get
We
the
laugh
premise.
all the time. Don't
Yep.
feel bad. We've been desensitized to it at this point now. We've
Absolutely.
laughed at death so much that when we hear about it now, we try to look for the joke that is just inherently in it. But yeah, so that's what we do. We just we go back and forth. We crack jokes. We talk about a lot of really, really weird stuff that is happening all around the world, from a lot of really not reputable sites, or sites like Fox News that have terrible grammar.
You do. Yep. I do
Yeah.
never recommend and again, I have friends that are both on all sides of political spectrums, but I will always make fun of Fox News as much as I possibly can. So I'm
It's
with
one of
you
our
there.
favorite things. One of our favorite things to do is make fun of, be like, they have and here. Be like, they're Fox. They shouldn't have and.
That's funny. So how long? So for the Rum Runners podcast, it's you and your business partner Kyle,
Yeah.
right? Now, were you and Kyle when you started Rum Runners? Were you guys like good friends before that, or like have you guys been friends for a really long time, or how's that work?
At this point, I think we've been friends for 12 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Long-time friends.
Yeah, where'd you guys meet up? Like, how did you guys meet?
It's kind of like a meet cute. It's like a romantic comedy for the most part, and that's my business phone going off. I'll just ignore that. Ignore the hello moto in the background.
No, perfectly fine.
It's what happens when you have two phones. You forget to mute one of them. So basically, we met. We were working at a store called H.H. Gregg, and we were selling TVs. And we did not get along at first. We actually, I thought he was an asshole, and he thought that I was annoying.
That's funny.
He literally was wearing a shirt that had Boondock Saints on it. I said, I love that movie. Cool shirt, dude. And he was like, I hate this movie. I'm just wearing the shirt.
Was that his true stance on it though? Did he hate the movie?
He does not like it.
That's so funny.
He got it for free, I think, is what happened. And like one of his exes or something bought it for him, and he just had it. And he thinks it's an overrated movie. I still love the movie. I don't care. But that was our first interaction. And then over the course of working there, we found out that we were both very good at avoiding doing work together.
That's so funny.
But we would still make money because we were salespeople. So we coined this way of selling where we would just walk around just talking to each other, not paying attention to any customers. And then the moment that our bosses looked at us, we would break and sell something right in that instant. And we just did that over and over.
Does Kyle still work there, or did you guys move on from that?
Oh no,
obviously you moved on from that job because you do this full time. But I mean, he does. But that was way back then.
Yeah, that was literally right at the beginning. That was 12 years ago. That store has since closed down. It was not a very good business model for the Northeast. We're very mean up here, so we don't like Southern kind of hospitality.
If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to say it because it's on a live. But where are you at?
I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in the Lehigh Valley.
Oh, that's really cool. We have a friend that's kind of a business partner. Her name's Jenna that lives actually in Pennsylvania, but not that you would know her. But and I know
everyone in Pennsylvania.
But I know that she lives in Pennsylvania. And she's a social media influencer. But that's really cool. I'll have to I'm trying to spend more time on the East Coast traveling, and one of my things is to get to Pennsylvania. And my wife actually, there's someone there, I think. Somewhere that does really good tattooing that she wants to actually go to, and I'm like, okay, I guess we can fly to Pennsylvania and get a tattoo.
Come in fall. It's really, really nice at this time of the year. It's a lot of people, especially if you don't get to see the leaves change. Pennsylvania is gorgeous when the weather changes. A lot of people hate on the state because it's boring. It's boring. But we got good food and we got gorgeous scenery. That's my main suggestion.
Is that where you're originally from?
Yeah, I'm born and raised. I've lived in the Lehigh Valley my entire life. I've lived in just about every part of the Lehigh Valley because it's a big area. It's the 4th or 5th largest metropolitan area in Pennsylvania. So it's right up there.
That's really cool. So after you started the Rum Runners podcast, then you guys decided to start other podcasts that you guys actually are on, right?
Yep.
You're on Talk Shonen and then on Dark Rum also, right?
Yeah, Kyle kind of has a love for all things creepy, spooky, and just generally, just screwed up.
Right.
So he wanted to start Dark Rum, and that is my least favorite stuff. I hate serial killers. I don't hate cryptids. I find them interesting, but I am the largest skeptic. So I was like, unless you want to be angry all the time, get another co-host. So that's what we did. And he originally got our friend Ryan, who liked the stuff, but was also a huge nerd. So I kind of sniped Ryan for my show, Talk Shonen, which is just talking about all things nerdy.
Okay, so then Kyle does Dark Rum with Ryan, and then you do Talk Shonen with Ryan.
Yeah, that's how it originally was. Now Kyle has a brand new co-host. It's another friend of ours. Matt is now his co-host on Dark Rum.
Got it.
It's very interesting. We've all known each other for about 10 years or so. Kyle's known Matt and Ryan for 30 years. I think they've known each other since like kindergarten. So it's a very tight-knit group that we have when it comes to our flagship shows. It's only the bestest of friends get to be on the flagships.
Nice. That's really cool. It also kind of makes it like, as you get other like people that do podcasts on the Rum Runners podcast network, then they're like, oh man, I want to get into that so that we can do a podcast with them. And then that's kind of how you build like that community and that mystique. And then like things kind of go across all of them. So that's really cool. So Dark Rum's your guys' monsters, myths, and mayhem, as it says here. And if anybody's interested in looking up, so first of all, you can get all these podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, I'm assuming, right? iHeart Radio, Spreaker, Apple,
Spotify,
all of them, tuned in, all of them. Okay, so Stitcher. So just make sure if you want to subscribe to these, go to wherever you listen to your podcast. Look up Rum Runners, look up Dark Rum, look up Talk Shonen. But you guys also have your website, which is rumrunnerspodcastnetwork.com. So does that take us to be able to listen to them anywhere here?
It'll be embedded right on there.
Integrate your megaphone. Nice. Perfect. Cool. So you guys can definitely go listen to these here. Okay. So then what's the premise of Talk Shonen?
Talk Shonen was a chance for me and Ryan to nerd out without anybody calling us a nerd. We talk about comics, we talk about anime, we rip apart movies, and we debate like any good nerd show does, because we have very, very different tastes. So we will respectfully debate, is what we call it. We will rip each other apart, but we'll do it respectfully at the end of the day.
That's so awesome. And that's really the funnest part about being a nerd, in my opinion. Actually, hey, Jared, I'm so sorry. I forgot about something. Can you hold on 1 second? I totally forgot about something. If you want to continue to talk about Talk Shonen, that would be fantastic. And and where other people can find you too. And I'll be right back.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so basically, Talk Shonen is a labor of love. It is our newest of the flagship shows. It is the smallest kind of community. But just recently we're talking about things like the Rings of Power. We do full breakdowns on Marvel movies, Marvel shows. This is probably the podcast that we spend the most money on, because we actually do have to go out, watch these movies. We try to watch them as soon as they come out so that we can talk about them right away. But yeah, it's really just it's something that I've loved, and it's two lifelong nerds constantly nerding out about everything nerdy. We've gotten on a big tabletop RPG kick recently, where we talk about a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. We talk about Critical Role quite frequently, Dimension 20, as well as we just had an episode about Cyberpunk, everything from the game all the way up to the old school TTRPG, and we've talked about all of that. So yeah, it's pretty much everything.
Right. I totally forgot. My landscaper wasn't able to come on Monday, and he texted me yesterday saying he was going to come today, and I forgot to text him back and tell him, hey, I can't have you because I'm doing this, and he just showed up, so I just had to run off and tell him to come back whenever. He was like, sure, whatever. So I apologize for that.
Not a
But
problem.
I did hear something about Cyberpunk, so tell me more of what I missed.
Yeah, so our most recent episode was titled All Things Cyberpunk, and we talked
Nice.
about everything from the video game, which was a current obsession of mine now that it's playable. We talked about that, and we talked about Edge Runners a bit, and then we
Nice.
also talked about the TTRPG because we're both super into TTRPGs. He used to
just
play
so people,
Cyberpunk.
you're when you say TTRPG, you're referring to the tabletop role-playing game version of it, just in case people don't know what that means.
Yeah, it is a little bit more obscure compared to like something like Dungeons and Dragons, but
Yep.
it was very, very popular. I myself never got to play it.
So anyways, the reason why I'm laughing is because I didn't realize that you guys were that into role-playing games, because in my Discord for Age of Radio Discord, I actually named our admins Netrunners.
That's amazing.
So I took all kinds of stuff from Cyberpunk and I integrated it into what we call people. So I think it's interesting that you enjoy that. And hey, if you ever want to play, we do like a special private Dungeons and Dragons group through Discord, because we're all not located. So we do is we use Roll20, but then what we do is we all go into the Discord server because it works better than Roll20, and then that's how we communicate and share stuff. And it's interesting because I wanted to get one going with Cyberpunk. So, because the role-playing game for Cyberpunk is freaking fantastic.
Yeah, that would be. Honestly, we're completely down. I'll share something here. This is. I'll give you an inside scoop of the future that is coming with Rum Runners. We are putting together an actual play.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it is. I'm big.
Oh, Jared, I might have lost you. Don't know if it's my internet.
I don't know.
You're coming back.
There we are.
Okay.
But yeah, so on top of this being our first foray into actual play, it is actually, for myself, I am a learned man of TTRPGs. I have studied TTRPGs. I researched them. Never actually played one.
Really?
So it'll be my first foray into it. So Ryan wants to make sure it's as amazing of an experience as he possibly can, because one, people are going to be watching it, and two, he knows I've done acting, I've been in theater, and
you'll enjoy it then.
Yeah. So he's like, I know you're going to do good at it, so I want it to be super duper special. So we don't know when it's going to come out, but in the future, keep an eye out. We are going to have something, and there's a special kind of theme that goes with it that we haven't seen done yet. So it should be fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think you've alluded to the theme in somewhere. Discord.
Yeah. I think it was either on an episode or possibly in Discord. We you don't have to give people.
I think you should keep it secret, because I think it's going to be fun if I'm remembering correctly. So that's really cool, Jared. So the main three shows, your top three shows though, are Rum Runners Podcast, Dark Rum, and then Talk Shonen.
Yep.
Okay, so then obviously, if people don't know this, Rum Runners actually was part of Age of Radio for a while, and then the purpose of Age of Radio is to help people grow their podcast. And if they want to stay with Age of Radio, they can. If they want to go off and do their own thing, we support that, and we have no problem helping them in any way grow, because again, we're focused on creating products and services that can help content creators go and do what they love best, because I feel that if people are doing what they love best in the world, then the world will be a better place. So I want to encourage and help people just to do what they love. Agreed. And so you guys went off and you started, you kind of had the Rum Runners Podcast Network at that time, but you were using it through us. And then you kind of figured it kind of out how to get the thing going again, right?
Yeah.
To do it yourselves. And so you guys broke off and did that, which is amazing. And so now, as I look here on the website, you have some of these other shows. Now, are all of these active shows on your podcast network?
Yeah, they are all active shows. The one that we did have an additional one that they sadly had to close everything down. Everything else is either active weekly, or it's serialized and it has seasons, and they're just currently on a season break.
Got it. Nice. So are you guys on these ones, or are these just completely different people altogether?
Some of them we're on. Infinite Universe is another one of ours. We referred to it as our secret show. We didn't tell anybody about it.
That's so cool.
We don't market it. We don't do anything. It literally is, if you found it, it's because you were meant to find it.
That's so cool and so smart. That's really cool. So, have people found it though? I mean, are there people listening to it? Probably, yeah.
Right now, it's a trickle. At its height, like it's on a little bit of a break because we're reworking the formula. We want it. Basically, it's a Mad Libs type show. It
Nice.
literally is just it's very nerdy in its concept. It is, if there is infinite universes out there, then anything that you can think of has to be true in one of those universes.
That's true. That's really cool. That's an awesome concept, man.
We just go off and one person comes up with an idea. They say, I visited universe number blah 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 blah. And in that universe, it has this, and this. And the other people just try to poke holes in it. And we're trying to rebrand it to have more guests and kind of have like an interview at the beginning and then be like, all right, cool. Now it's time to be multiversal travelers, and then go into it. And
that is
have
so
a lot of
cool.
fun.
That's a really cool concept. That one's good. I think once people find it, I think that one can do really, really well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have Fit Talk with Nick. Does that one still act? That one's going good. I'm assuming that has to do with fitness.
Yep, that is a friend of mine who is a personal trainer. He wanted to start a podcast. Right now, he's on a little bit of a break because he's opening up his own gym. It's actually
nice.
It's incredible. So he's having his own gym open up in the Lehigh Valley, and we're giving him some time. We're like, hey, take a break, focus on getting your stuff set up, and then you come back in. And it's very fun. He goes over fitness, overall body wellness. Like, he's big into like not just, hey, let's get you jacked. He's like, let's get you healthy, mind, body, everything about you. Let's try to get you to a place that you're happy, because that's really the most important thing. And that's what that show's mostly about.
That is so freaking cool. Nice. And then is this San Antonio restaurants? Is that about restaurants that are in San Antonio?
Yes, that is actually a brand new one. They are just beginning to upload. So
That's
they
so
are
cool.
They are a humongous food group. Yeah, San Antonio Restaurants is on Facebook. They are a humongous food group in the San Antonio area. They have like, I think, 150,000 members of the group, and they really wanted to do a show. So they approached us and they're like, hey, we're going to do everything. We know how to do everything, we think. Can you do? I heard that you have a place, a network to really get it out there, and I was like, yeah, bring it on. So yep, that's our newest one. That is the newest of 2 or 3 actually shows. There's one that hasn't been added yet because we're in the process of setting everything up for them.
Nice. That is so cool. So then my other question then, so you were telling me before this that there's one of these that iHeartRadio actually picked up, and that's actually going out on a radio station. Is that did I understand that right?
Yeah, Lehigh Valley Food. So just, I think, one over to the left from that.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yep, this is kind of where our network went from, hey, we're just a bunch of friends in a basement hanging out, to we really need to become a business. We need to get serious because somebody is willing to give us money to do this. And that's really what happened with Lehigh Valley Food. And it's run by an amazing woman named Chris, and she works very, very closely with Rum Runners now. She is actually becoming one of our partners. That's how much she believes in the brand in general.
That's so cool.
And yeah, so she has it was the fastest growing food brand on Facebook, period, hands down.
Wow. And
it is now the largest food brand in the Lehigh Valley, and it's getting up there with like the entire state.
Now, so is Lehigh Valley someplace that's in Pennsylvania, or is it in a different?
Yeah.
I'm kind of ignorant to the actual.
Not a problem.
When people are like, so we went to Connecticut earlier this year, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, Connecticut was where Maine was at, like literally where Maine was at, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it was over here, connected to all of these other states. Anyways,
trust me, I deal with Kyle on a daily basis, and he is the worst person with geography. He'll just be like, yeah, Washington's right next to Chicago, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like, Chicago's not even a state, Kyle. You can't do that.
Yep. That's exactly how I am.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So that one, where's that actually, what radius is it? A place, I'm assuming, in Lehigh Valley that they're on the radio at?
Yeah. So due to the fact that like podcasts don't work on the radio like FM, they only work as an AM thing. So there's a radio station around here called WAEB 790. It's an AM station, and that it actually reaches quite a big distance. There's people that have heard it even in like Ohio. I think it has towers that relay all the way out that way. Pretty much blankets almost the entire state, if not the entire state.
Is that it? WAB 79 in Lehigh Valley?
WAEB.
Oh, WAEB.
Yeah, it's a weird AM station name.
That's all good.
But yeah, so WAEB.
Can't spell or read, so
it's fine.
Oh shit! It still didn't even work. All right,
it's fine. They'll find it. But yeah, so they iHeartRadio approached Chris about, hey, can I heard your show. I really, really like it. I love the page. I love everything that you're doing. We're interested in having you on the radio. And there were some business talks, and we spoke to iHeart a little bit. We're like, we can make it happen. We can have it be consistent. And that's pretty much what we've been doing. We go to, like, I produce that show also. Me and Kyle are there every single week when they produce. Sometimes we're on the show as guest hosts. Sometimes other people guest host. And it's they go to different restaurants. They sit down with the owners, with the chefs, with managers and staff, and they just talk to them about like where the idea came from. It's a nice 25-minute show, very easy to digest. And a lot of the times they're eating food. So people that like ASMR, which I am not one of, but they eat food and they talk
ASMR,
about it.
But I do not like eating food ASMR. ASMR, when it's like geared towards me to go to sleep or something, I'm hands down 100% fine with that. I think there's only one ASMR artist that there's one episode where she eats something that I'm like, okay, that's okay. But other than that, I'm not into the food eating thing. No.
Yeah, I can't stand mouth noises for the most part, and it's a cacophony of mouth noises. But I mean, a lot of people are into that, so it works out. But they'll immediately describe the food, and it's actually helped grow. A few restaurants have gone viral off of it. Like between the posts and the show and everything like that, a few restaurants have reached like 1.8 million people.
Wow.
And a restaurant that wasn't really taking reservations got booked out for like 3 months. So it's an amazing show to have gotten started.
It's powerful. Yeah. This time marketing and content marketing is super, super powerful. Yeah, that's awesome. So you only have the only show that's not on here is just one that you're just getting going though, right?
Yeah. San Antonio is the only one that's getting going right now.
Got it.
Every other one, I mean, like Chungus is that one is serialized for the most part, so he's on like a little bit of an inter season break. Yeah. He's coming back, I think, for Halloween. Halloween is when his next season's starting. And then You Have to Watch This is honestly our longest running one, and those guys are on top of it. They're the most organized, and they have, I think, almost 300 episodes in at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible. They're if you want to hear a bunch of people have a bunch of different takes on movies that some people say everyone should have seen, because that's basically the premise of it. Is one of them goes, have you seen this movie? And if they go, no, I haven't seen that movie, be like, watch it now, and I have to get your first impression of it.
Wow, that's so cool. That's really cool. And so when so they were around before you guys picked them up. It didn't start from Rum Runners.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
Nice.
They were around longer than we were actually, but they cool. A friend of mine, the guy in the middle actually is a longtime friend of mine from high school. And he was like, hey, I saw that you have a network and I saw that you're looking for shows to be on it. And I was like, yeah, honestly, I'm like, I wanted to approach you guys, but I didn't know. I'm like, you guys have been doing it for longer than we have. I didn't know if you wanted to even talk to us. And we sat down, had a Zoom call with everybody. And they were super excited. They're very, very supportive. They're great guys. And I honestly, I push the show to everybody because they talk about some of the greatest movies. And it's hilarious to hear how movies that I'm like, that's a great movie. Everybody loves that movie. To them be like, I wasn't into it. Wasn't a fan. And then hear them defend that. And it's a lot of fun.
That's so awesome. And then real quick, before we move on to some of the other stuff that you have going on, Joey did put in a comment that kind of came up and it says, I just want to know if any rum drinking happens on any of the shows. So actually that's a good question because it is called Rum Runners, but I don't know, does that have a different meaning than the actual drink?
It does. The name actually came from when Kyle and I were working at HH Gregg. We
Yeah.
were like, we hate our jobs. We're gonna quit. We're gonna steal a boat, and we're gonna become pirates. And
Nice. Sounds like
we're just gonna
thing to do, and I support that.
yeah, we're just gonna we're only gonna rob cruise ships though, and we're only gonna steal their alcohol, and we will be called the Rum Runners.
Yeah,
That's
actually
where the name came from.
cool. The one thing I do, who does your guys' images?
Kyle is our lead designer.
Kyle does a really, really good job. You guys have some of the best thumbnails out of anybody that has been on the Age of Radio network.
Thank you. I will relay that to
the older.
him.
There were some older versions of them too, if I'm not mistaken. Even the older versions were fantastic. So no, you do really, really good.
Thank you.
They pop really well. So you also have an indie podcast digital magazine, or you did, or what's going on with this thing?
That is on a brief hiatus, but we want to get back to it as quickly as possible. We founded the Indie Podcast Magazine in honestly a lot of the same things that you feel with your network. We feel in general that's the mindset that we have, that we really want to see podcasting stay with the people and not necessarily turn into, who has this humongous following. Now they started a show that's the number one show on the internet now. We want people to that are interested in podcasting and want to become better podcasters to have a place where they just have a lot of information to either find a new show to like, or get in, suggestions on equipment, or where's the best restaurant to get Wi-Fi if you need to connect really quick and upload something, or what are the best editing softwares. We want a place that people can for free go and just find out everything that there is about being an indie podcaster and what that means and how you can do that better and really just help people grow. We didn't want to charge people for it. We wanted it to be free. And we also wanted to offer to shows that are out there a cheap place to put advertising. So we do have those spaces there where you can get either like a small little sliver, and that'll be, it's around like $25. You put your show in there, or you can have an entire page as like $100. And we were like, $100 to have an entire page ad in a magazine that's seen by, possibly thousands of people compared to paying for advertising.
How do you guys distribute it to people? How do people get, like, once a new episode, I know you said it's kind of on a little hiatus, but I do love this concept. So I do want to say that I think this is exactly, and because just being honest with you, I've thought about something like this for a long time. I just don't have the ability to do it. Right. Like, I don't have the ability to make the content, which might have been kind of what the trouble was that you ran into, getting it going and things like that. Right.
Yeah.
But like, if that's the case, and so if people wanted to get it, do they always have to come here, or do you email it to them when they come out, or how did that part work?
We've been in the process of trying to build like a good, mailing list. So we do want to do that. We do want to build the mailing list up so that we can email it to people. But we also were reaching out to a lot of the podcast groups on like social media and saying, hey, we don't make any money off of this, really. I mean, like, every show that's currently in it was one of ours, or we were giving them space for free. So it's like, we've made no money off of this. This is not a paid thing. We're just trying to get this out to help people. We're not trying to take money away from anybody. Can we please just share this on your page?
Yeah.
And, some groups were very, very cool. Some groups, not so much. So, we're just trying to, anywhere where someone might go, I want to be a podcaster. And, if they go to Facebook and they just type in podcasting, we wanted to make sure that it was at least somewhere on every single page that we possibly could put it. We got kicked out of a few groups because of that, but
you got to try, right?
Yeah.
Yes, please feel free once you get it going. So we can talk one off, because I'm actually interested in learning just more about it, because that's something that I would love to be a part of, or Age of Radio to help with in any way that we can. So definitely want to talk to you about that. And two, feel free. This is the purpose. Once it gets going again, feel free to drop it in here for people. That's the purpose of this group, is to bridge a gap between people that listen to content and the people that create the content.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why we're trying to really build our community in this tribe. subscribe is so that the audience, people that enjoy learning about stuff and doing stuff, they have a place to go, and then people like yourself have a place to put stuff and to help grow your thing. So absolutely. So that's really cool. So is there anything else that I missed that you guys have going on, or people can buy merch? Is the merch store up and running?
Yeah, the merch store is up and running. We go through I think it's called Spring now. We go through them for most of our designs. Like all of our shows have like particularly branded merch. We are trying to get new designs because Kyle has a degree in fine art, so he's very, very good when it comes to
I remember when we were doing certain things, Kyle was like, you need to re-image this because it doesn't look good on the finger. I was like, you're right, it doesn't. So I believe, if I remember correctly, but absolutely, that's awesome.
So we've come up with like a lot of really cool design ideas, and like a lot of them are like funny. I mean, at the end of the day, Rum Runners, the actual show, we always, we refer to it as, we're a comedy news podcast, but a lot of times we're just like, we talk about dicks a lot. So a lot of our stuff is very
kind of like George R.R. Martin, right?
Yeah.
It was just with the South Park. Have you ever seen that South Park?
I saw a couple clips from it, and I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, so a lot of our stuff is vulgar. Like we have a hoodie that says I can say whatever I want about a horse fucker, and on the back it says alleged horse fucker.
That's funny.
Just because that's from the show.
So when you guys do so how do people, so I guess my question, so how do you guys get new podcasts? If someone's on here and they're listening to it and they want to be a part of your podcast network, do they reach out to you, or are you guys really selective, or what does that process look like?
We are not very selective at all. We want to try to help anybody. The only thing that we'll do is like, if your audio quality is a little bit lacking, we'll give you a little advice to try to get that better. And once you've made the changes, then we're like, okay, cool. Now let's talk about getting you on. Because we do want people to be happy with what they put out. And we've kind of noticed that people that don't have the greatest audio, when they approach someone about working together, they're like, I'm new and it's a little bit rough around the edges. And we're like, okay, look into this program, look into doing these steps, look into these microphones, check about getting a different audio receiver. And we'll tell them, we're like, here's this one. We sent someone our magazine one time. We're like, we have everything that we're saying is in here. It's a bunch of stuff that we suggest. If you take these steps, I think you'll be happy with your show. And once you're happy with how your show sounds, come back to us, because that's what we really want. We want people that are happy about what they're putting out, and then we'll help them get better. We'll give them even more advice once they're in. We're not very selective at all.
So if people want to join your network, you just get them access to the megaphone, and they're able to go and push it out? And then do you do any revenue sharing with them, or is there, you don't have to say the amount, they can contact you about that. But like, how does that all work? Or do they have to pay you for the hosting, or how does that part work?
So we cover all the costs for hosting on Megaphone.
Nice.
That's 100% a company issue. That's why we got a company bank. So we have that, and we do a split with our shows, and we always take the smaller split. And we always let our creators do that. And anything that our creators bring in on their own is 100% theirs. We don't touch anything that they did the work for. So we like, at the end of the day, we never went, we're going to make a podcast network and we're going to become millionaires. That was never the goal. We love what we're doing. We love the community, and we want to just bring in as many people as possible.
Nice. That's amazing. And so with that being said, are there any type of podcasts that you're looking for that you want to add, like any type of content that you're trying to diversify into?
I mean, we always love, like, Kyle wants more spooky podcasts. Like he wants more people to talk to about spooky stuff. So he would love to get more of that. Honestly, I would love to have more female run podcasts. We're a pretty
nice.
aside from our two of our food shows, which is Lehigh Valley Food, and then Fort Worth Food, which is she distributes that on her own right now. We're getting her set up with everything audio wise. But I remote produce that one, and it's mostly video. But those are the only two that I have female hosts, and I want to try to get more female or non-binary. I want to try to get more just diversity in what we have. Luckily, I'm a Puerto Rican guy. We got, 3 white guys and a Puerto Rican guy. So we got at least a little built-in diversity. But I want to have more. I want
more.
Yeah,
no, that's really important too. Super important. No, I agree 100%. Well, that's awesome. And so you also can help people do audio. You do auto servicing, looks like video servicing as well. You help them with their launch. You do consulting and remote. So if people want, I was clicking through it and I forgot that I stopped sharing. So if people want to come and do that, they can come to the runrunnerspodcastnetwork.com. They can go over to the services and be able to see all the services that you offer.
Yep. Pretty much anything for podcasting, from sitting down for an hour and just giving you every piece of advice. We had one person that she has a therapy podcast, and she approached us and she was just like, I'm just not quite happy with how it sounds. She's like, I'm making money off of it. She's like, I'm around 50 episodes into it. I like our format, but I'm not happy with the sound. What do I do? And she's like, I've heard your stuff and it sounds great. And I'm like, thank you. But stroke the ego is always great. But and so, she sat down with us for a little over an hour, and we just went over every possible thing that we could about helping her out sound wise. We helped her redesign her thumbnails to try to be a little bit easier for her. We took a look at her website and try to, put her in touch with some people to try to help make her website not better, but she was having an issue uploading things. So we're like, talk to these kind of people and they might be able to try to help you. So really it was just, actually it was 2 hours of just helping her in every way, shape or form, just because she went, I'm interested in hearing what advice you guys can give me. And we're happy to give anybody advice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, definitely in alignment with all the stuff that you're doing. And that is great. And that's the same stuff that we want at Age of Radio and also here in the Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group. Is like I said, my goal is like, I'm happy that when you told me this is what you do full time, I was just so happy. Not that had anything to do with us, but like, I think that was just really cool that you were like, okay, cool. We have this model. Let's take this model, let's go and really ramp up the Rum Runners Podcast Network. And, that was really the purpose of why I started Age of Radio. That's why there's never any animosity against anybody when anybody goes their own thing, because that's what we want to happen for anything. We just want to build and network and create so everybody can go and have fun together and do the things that they enjoy. So, Jared, we are at about 46 minutes. Is there anything that you want to add? And then I'm going to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, really, the last thing is like, if anybody is interested in joining the network, just reach out to us on that website. On the homepage, there's a contact form at the bottom. It says if you would like to join the family, because that's kind of the motto. It's not it's more than a network; it's a family. So yeah.
Is it which one is it on?
If you just click right on Rum Runners Podcast Network, that's the home button, and that'll take you right to it. And then right down at the bottom, it says contact us to join the family.
Yep, right there. Cool. So if you guys want to be part of the Rum Runners Podcast Network, go ahead and check them out. You can go here, rumrunners@gmail.com, fill that information out and get in contact with them. Or if you want help with your actual production and everything, go here and you can reach out to Jared, and Jared and Kyle can help. Cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to add, man?
No. I mean, honestly, I'm just happy to be here. It's, we owe a lot to Age of Radio for getting us started and really showing us how to be a not scummy network. And that's what we've kind of wanted to just continue and keep offering to people. We've heard so many terrible stories about people getting utterly just fucked over by people that are just trying to use people that don't know any better, that are new to this space, and use them for money. And you guys didn't do that. And we really appreciate that. And we appreciate you giving us this platform to keep talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'll go ahead and end the broadcast now. Jared, if you want to stay on, because I just want to touch base with you about the Indie Podcast digital magazine after this. But remember, if you go over to home style signatures or signature home styles, they're going to hate me. They're like, you messed up everything. Signaturehomestiles.biz, BIZ at Age of Radio, and go shopping. They're doing a sale. You can get an additional $10 off with the code social10. Go and buy some stuff and make your house look great. They also have this really cool like one of their signature things is this sparkle glass that they have. Let me see if I can get an image of it real quick, because they'll probably be like, "Oh, we wanted you to put that on there." Let's see here. But it's really cool because what we're thinking about doing is like one of our podcast, Mysterious Circumstances, they actually are working with them as well. And they're going to probably make some of these for the podcast networks. In fact, Jared, you should, I mean, I don't know if this is your thing or anything like that, but you should reach out to them because they'll probably do some revenue sharing too. They're really cool to work with. So
I'll probably do that.
You can definitely do, yeah, so this is really, really cool. It's a sparkle glass. This is their main seller that they have. And then they recently went into like the coffee business here. So they have coffee makers. They have their own coffee. So make sure that you check them out. And again, it's at signaturehomestyles.biz, biz/Age of Radio. And you can check me out at Age of Jeremy, wherever you do that. And remember, tomorrow at 9 a.m., we're going to do Twitter Spaces just to talk about content and have a good time. So remember, be thankful, grateful, and kind, everybody. And if you're listening to this and you have content and you're part of the Addicted to Podcasting Network, please, please, please come reach out to me. We'll put you up here. You don't have to be on our network. You could have your own network. This is just about sharing stuff that people are doing so everybody knows about it. And then make sure that you check out all the latest episodes from the Runners Podcast Network, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to subscribe to Rum Runners Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Also, follow me on socials at Age of Jeremy, except on Twitter. It is Age of Jeremy Q. And please join our Facebook group, Addicted to Podcasting, by following the link in the bio. It's absolutely free. Remember, be thankful, grateful, and kind. We'll talk with you next time. If you like this episode, make sure to like and subscribe to Age of Jeremy wherever you're listening to it right now. If your podcatcher allows you to, please rate this podcast so we can get it in front of more people. Our opening song is Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. The closing song is Threatening Each Other Recapitalism by Illuminati Hotties. I use Neumann microphones, Steinberg's Cubase, the Zoom L8, and one last time, be thankful, grateful, and kind. We'll talk with you next time. Bye.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.